All right, we're just going to start. We've been given the green light that we can just go. Okay, so welcome to the most exciting class you're going to go to all day. We're going to talk about budgeting and finance and taxes and Social Security. What could possibly be more fun? But I think we will have some fun. My name is Kristy Pack, and I am here with John Hoyman. I'm going to introduce John for a second, and then he'll have a chance to interview me as well. And John, I'll introduce John. Okay, so this is John. This is my dear friend, John Hoyman, who is a financial advisor with Legacy Financial up in Layton. And I've invited John to come with me to this presentation today because John knows absolutely everything about Social Security. And right, yeah, cheers. I was like, really, like, who do we need? We need John. He knows absolutely everything about Social Security. And I have worked with him for about 5 years professionally with my own clients. And he is so good, especially at working with widows and widowers of all ages. He has a lot of experience, and we share a lot of clients between the two of us. And I have nothing but incredible feedback from John, just in absolutely everything. And knowing that we were speaking at this conference and we're talking about money, I wanted to bring somebody who also wasn't going to show up like trying to sell you something, you know. And one thing I really appreciate about John is he is so intelligent and so smart, and he is not a sales guy for financial products. He is here to educate and to help. So I know a lot of people in the industry, but there was no question who I would invite today. I wanted to invite John. So we're grateful that John's here to come with us. And by the way, I absolutely trust him because he does all of my stuff. He does my widowed sister stuff. He does my mother's stuff. I mean, like, there's not a person in the world that I wouldn't trust to take advice from John Hoyman. So we're glad he's here, but he does know he is the Social Security expert and is going to help us that way.
Thank you, Kristy. That was super kind. And like Kristy said, my name is John, but I wanted to take a second to introduce Kristy. So Kristy Pack owns Pack Tax. Hey, Larry. And she is incredible. She has been doing my taxes for the past many years, and she is going to be a world of just help and guidance and resources as we're talking about budgeting and how to make finances, which is super complex, but how to make that a little bit easier for you. And so super excited to be here. And at the end of each of our remarks, we're going to open this up to a question and answer setting. So write down any questions that you might have, and we're just happy to be a resource for you today.
Thanks, John. It's like making sure the camera is still following us. We have very specific instructions on making the camera follow us for the people who are joining us on Zoom. A little background is like, how on earth did we get invited to speak at a conference for widows and widowers? Because neither of us has lost a spouse. But not interestingly, we have connections to a lot of people who are at this conference today. We have connections and have had experiences in our own lives that help us relate at least a little bit with the group. I am the child of a widow. My father passed away when I was 6 years old. I was the youngest of four when my dad committed suicide in 1990, leaving my mom to raise her four children, ages 6 to 14. And that whole road, which has been crazy. And we've been, raised members of the church, still members of the church, but it's been a very, I guess I was talking to my sister too, who is also a widow and who's presenting at this conference, Jenny Taylor, just about how she said you should try to give these widows hope that the children can be okay, that we can go through things and it can still work out. We had 4 kids, and again, raised by our mother after a pretty traumatic passing of our father, and life is okay. And my mother did a fabulous job of anchoring the gospel for us and helping us always see hope and a path forward. And that it didn't have to mean that it was the demise of all of us because something tragic happened to us when we were young and because we lost a parent, that life was okay. And we are getting through it. And you're never through it, but we're going, right? And we're still moving forward. And so she wanted me to share that, which is true. But I'm so grateful for my mother and for everything that she taught and instilled in my life. Let's talk about the fun things. Okay, so we're going to talk about money. I love talking about money. I don't know why. I never thought I would love talking about money. And here is a Okay, John is very credentialed. I am an IRS enrolled agent. I own a tax practice where we serve about 5,000 families in Northern Utah, small businesses and individuals. We deal with tax stuff. We deal with money stuff, right? So that's my professional background. And what we're talking about today, though, is budgeting, some real tools. And we wanted to gear this especially towards like real people, right? Like this is not, if you have $5 million in the bank, we're going to tell you what you should do with your $5 million. That would be great. But most of us do not have $5 million in the bank. And if you do have $5 million in the bank, which would be great, you really also need some very specific help and some very specific guidance and advisors to help you make specific decisions. So we're not here to tell you what exactly you should be doing with your money. We want to share some really practical tips and answer some questions that should be easy to answer, but they're not, because our financial system is a mess. Have you noticed? The IRS, kind of a mess. Social Security, kind of a mess. And having to deal with any of this stuff, like it is overwhelming and confusing. And even if you just think that you got the answer and know what's going on, then they change it and it's something different. So it's this constant ball of confusion that we hope to be able to answer some questions if you have them today and clear up the stuff that actually is impacting your life right now. So let's see, living within your means. If only it were so easy, right? Easier said than done. Like we know the principle of living within your means. If we will live within our means, we will have less anxiety in our lives, greater comfort, greater peace. Living within our means we're going to spend less than we bring in, right? So I think we probably all understand the concept, right? We've heard the concept before. Why is it so dang hard? I often think to myself, well, if I just had another $5,000 a month, I could certainly live within my means. You know, if there was just this little more money, it would be so much easier to live within your means. But how do you live within your means if your means aren't enough to live? You know, like it's really tricky, right? Like if it was just, we're going to cut up the pie and everybody can have the slice of pie where it's supposed to go into this category, great. But so often it feels like there's not enough pie to go on every plate. You know, there's not enough money to put everywhere that it's supposed to go this month. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. If you've ever felt that before, I mean, for me, it's like, how soon into the month is the money already gone for the month? If you felt that before, looking at the numbers, you are not alone. I have the great opportunity, like I said, of working with thousands of families. Thousands and thousands of individuals out there come to me and I get to look at everybody's income. Like I have this like window into people's finances, right? Where like I see 5,000 people's W-2s and I see what all of these people are making, all the different jobs, how the money's coming in, the financial situation. Like I can see all that. Like I got my neighbors, I got my friends, I got the teachers at school. I got, like we have all the information, right? And one thing that I've learned is just everybody thinks that everybody else is in better financial shape than they are, right? You might look at your neighbors, you might look at people across the street, people in the ward, whoever, like, and you think they've got it all together. It's just me. I'm the one that can't ever keep up. Why am I always behind? Why is this credit card growing? Why is the money already gone and it's 10 days into the month? You know, like just over and over, all these different things, right? Like, or I'm the only one that doesn't understand it, or I'm the only one that hasn't planned correctly. And you are not. So if there's no other message besides you are not alone if you're struggling with finances and budgeting and money and what's left to pay all the bills. Like that is nearly everybody. There's only a few people over here that don't have that, right? Like everybody else is also struggling through it. Like that's part of life, is we're like, as it just with other struggles, like we're going to struggle through the money part of life. Unless we have, someone gave me $10 million, great. Then I can have fun in figuring out how I'm going to donate it. You know, this sounds wonderful. You know, which properties am I going to pay off first? Oh, these sound like fun decisions to make, right? As opposed to how do I just pay the bills right now? Or which bill can I get away with not paying this month? Real struggles, right? But just know, like, you're not alone. It's the same thing. Like people will come in, like they haven't filed taxes for years and they're so embarrassed, and they will be so embarrassed. Like, I didn't even want to call you because I haven't filed taxes in like 2 or 3 years. And they're like so embarrassed to come in. And I just want to say, you are not alone. You have no idea how many people haven't filed their taxes in years. You have no idea how many people are a total train wreck and a mess with money. Like, you are not alone. So don't feel bad if you don't have everything in order right now. Don't feel bad if you aren't totally prepared for retirement and have all the ducks in a row right now, even if you're in retirement. Like, don't feel bad. Like, we're going to do what we can do, right? We can make a plan. We can work on things. It doesn't go perfect every time, but we can work on things and we're going to move forward. But just know that it is not just you. It's kind of everybody in this boat. So I wanted to share a couple of actual tools that I use to help with budgeting in my life. Does anybody here, do you keep a budget? Like, do you have a book or a spreadsheet or something where you write down expenses, usually kind of like on a monthly basis? So this has been something that's helped me a lot. And the QR code, if you want to scan it, will take you straight to this spreadsheet that will pop up. It's just a Google worksheet. And this is just one that's very simple, but it's one that I've created, like, because you can Google them and find other budgeting spreadsheets, but sometimes to me, they're overwhelming. There's like a lot of things happening. I can't do a lot of things, but I can focus on kind of some simple things. So here I have a budgeting spreadsheet. So now if you want to use this one, that's great. What you'll do though, because I want to tell you, because this is a shared document, if you take this link and just start typing your stuff into it, it's going to change the document for everybody, right? So instead, what you would do is you would take this link and you can go up to the top and to file and hit duplicate. And you can create a copy of this that then would be yours. And we can show you on that. So if you're going to use this link, just know this, what if you change it on this, everybody's seeing it. You want to take this document and create a duplicate, and then that one's yours that nobody else sees. It can just be your spreadsheet. Just heads up. Okay, so on this spreadsheet, if you see your phone, I've made it super straightforward. So I like to budget by month, right? So we're looking at the whole month because I need to know what's coming in. Because if you're like me, it's like, I feel really good finally when money comes in, whenever it's coming in the month. And I feel like I have money to spend, but then actually there's not really much money to spend. My husband said to me, he said many times, why is there only $200 in our checking account? Where did all the money go? Didn't we just get paid? Didn't the money just come in for the month? I said, yes, but we actually don't have all that money to spend. That money's already spent. That money actually has places it has to go. So I keep this spreadsheet. And if you look like on the phone where it has income in the beginning and then expenses, and I keep it pretty simple. And you could make this super detailed. Like if you want every teeny little thing, you could put it there, or you could have just kind of broad numbers. So I have income up there. So here's where you would list all of your streams of income. So is there job income that's coming in? Is there retirement income? Is there Social Security? Like what's coming in, right? All the money that's coming in for that month, we're going to see the money that's coming in. Then, now this is before I actually spend it. So I'm really bad. Like I don't track all of my spending very well. That to me is the really hard part, but I at least track what's going to be spent. So this is the what's going to be spent. So it's like before the month starts, I'm going to write down what needs to go in each of these places, right? So if like on this example, right, it's like, okay, I've got the income. I know what my mortgage is. I know what Rocky Mountain's going to be, Questar, Verizon. And if you look on the link that was sent, it keeps going down. My phone, hold on. Oh no, the camera moved, come back camera. Okay, so, and you can put all your things up there. So like on mine, there's the house stuff, obviously, there's the utilities that you have to pay. It's like the stuff that I don't get to choose necessarily, right? The stuff that's going to come out, that needs to come out, whether I like it or not, right? I can't change what the house payment is. This is just what the house payment is. But then I have other things like, and if you can see, like it's also, hold on, and get my, there we go. It's like, I have younger kids. So I have my kids' dance lessons and karate lessons and all that kind of stuff that I would forget to put on there, but actually adds up to be $1 billion every month, right? That needs to be factored in. So I've got mortgage, rent, what's Rocky Mountain, Questar, Verizon, a car payment, health insurance, car insurance, groceries, restaurants, gas, recreation or entertainment, donations, vacation savings, Christmas savings. We'll talk about that. Then it's like girls dance, the piano, the karate. And then I have one at the bottom that's called wiggle room. So what I'm trying to do is like, I know what money's going to come in. I'm trying to make all of those categories match the money coming in. right? Like that would be the dream is, can I get all of my expense categories to match what's coming in? Now, some of them are fixed, like the mortgage is fixed and, like know what my car payment's going to be. I can calculate what I'm going to do in donations, but I also have added here things that I want to have happen. So for example, I have a vacation savings account. I have a Christmas savings account. There is never enough money for Christmas. I always think I'm only going to spend like a little bit at Christmas. I am way under. I don't know about you guys, but like I am way off when it comes to Christmas. Like then Christmas comes, like where did all that money go? Because I spent way more than in my mind I think I'm going to spend, because there's stuff, right? So I have a little category that every single month I'm going to try to put aside X amount for Christmas. Every single month, I'm going to try to put around, this much aside for a vacation that I know I want to go on. So it's not just like the absolute bare minimum necessities, but I'm putting on this list also everything I want. If I want to have the vacation, if I want to have the Christmas fund. Now, does that mean that every month I have that money to put in there? Not necessarily, right? Like it's my ideal. I hope there's money to put in the vacation fund every month, but if the car breaks down and I have to go make a payment and I didn't expect that, or, something like that, okay, where do I take that money from? Well, probably the vacation savings, probably the wiggle room, like some of these categories I can move around. It's not fun to have to move them around, but I got to move them around, right? But I put it on there as a reminder too, that like I'm trying to save towards this. I want every month to be able to put money aside towards an emergency fund if I don't have one, or like my bottom one is called wiggle room, right? So when I'm doing my budget, like I don't want every dollar into one of the categories. I want to leave some money. I'm still going to put it in a category, but called wiggle room. That's I forgot about this, or I didn't realize this was going to happen, or you name it, right? How nice to have a little bit of wiggle room, and it's not a lot of wiggle room. And I know that I'm going to use the wiggle room. I guess if I didn't use it, it'd go into savings, but who has never used their wiggle room? You know what I mean? Like the wiggle room's gone. The wiggle room is the first thing to be gone, but I'm at least putting it out there. That way, when I do get the money coming in from the month and it's like, oh man, finally we have some money and I want to go pay off some things, or I want to go pay for some things, I got to stop myself and be like, well, wait a minute. I need to have, $3,200 in the account because all these bills are going to come out. So even though it looks like I have money to spend right now, I don't have money to spend right now. And that's what comes back to my husband being like, why do we only have $200 in checking? I said, because the money's already spent. Like, I'm so sorry, but it's already spent, and it wasn't spent on new shoes. It's spent on all of these things that are going to come out. And it's so much easier, like if it's like a tax refund, if you get a tax refund, it kind of feels like free money, right? We're like, yes, I got money. We will spend it on things. That's kind of how I feel every month when money comes in for the first time. It's like, replenished, but I have to categorize it immediately. Otherwise, mentally, I'm going to think I have all this extra money to spend, which is going to get me into more of a hole, right? As opposed to like realizing, no, it's got to go somewhere. So, and again, you can change the spreadsheet, you can use it. And again, there's way more complex ones that will do all these math and these calculations. This one's just super straightforward. Yes. You read my mind. As like, if I'm sharing two things today, it's exactly that. So I do. So I bank just at some local credit unions. This one's from an America First account that I have. So maybe you do this. Does anybody here have like sub savings accounts set up at your bank? So at most credit unions and banks, you can set up sub savings accounts. America First will only let me do 5. Mountain America lets me do like 20. So depending on where you bank, it's a little bit different, but they'll let you have it's the same account, right? But just like a sub account, and you can name them. So here's my America First. Here's like the simple version. And again, I can only have 5 at America First, so we can't be too crazy about it. But I have one for vacation, for emergency fund, for mortgage, and then my checking. So what I do is when the money comes in for that month, immediately I am actually moving the money out of my checking account. Because when I see money in the checking account, I feel like I have money to spend, like I just do, right? It's like, oh, yay, there's money, but I don't, but that's hard to discipline myself. So I can't rely on my own self-discipline that I'm just not going to spend the money. Like I don't have that amount of discipline. I have to move the money. So I take my mortgage money straight out. It goes into the mortgage account. And then I have my mortgage payment set up that it is pulled from that account. Nice. So I just never have to see it again. I don't have to worry about what day of the month it's coming out because it's already in the mortgage account and they're just going to pull it from there. And then again, And like with savings, like I'll put the money, even at the beginning of the month, I'll put it into savings. Do sometime I have to pull it back out? Sometimes some months, yeah. But did I at least move it there in the beginning of the month? Yes, I did, because I'm trying to get it set aside. I'm trying to get in the habit of putting money there. Sometimes I got to empty it, and that's reality, but I'm trying, I'm trying to build this financial system for myself to help me. Now on my personal ones, like, because again, I do it at Mountain America, they'll let me have like $1 billion. So I have like 15 different sub accounts. I have one for here's the insurance payment's going to come out. I have one for like, almost like for all these categories, I have accounts. And so I put the money into that account. It's kind of like Dave Ramsey envelope system with money, except for I'm not using money, but I'm not using cash, but I'm putting it into a separate envelope where like, okay, the party money is in the account, so I can see how much party money I have left. I can see each one, but mostly my goal is get it out of checking, because if it's in checking, I feel like I can spend it when really I can't spend it, or if I can, I should have budgeted that in. Now I also want to preface this with, not preface it, we're in the middle of it, but like, okay, maybe it's because I have outlived my father. I'm not even 40 yet, and I've outlived my dad. He died when he was 36. And something with that, I think, has changed something in my psyche growing up, that I also believe that you should live right now. And I meet with lots and lots of clients who won't spend any money and who are terrified. They're terrified to take any money out because of the tax. They're terrified to spend any money because what about retirement? But to an extreme, you know what I mean? Where like they're held hostage because they're so afraid of no money that they won't use any right now. And again, because I've outlived my dad, there's something about it that I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I'm thrilled I'm still here. I've already outlived a parent. Every day that I'm here, I'm grateful to be here. I don't know how long I'll be here. I don't know how long my kids are going to be here. I don't know how long my husband's going to be here. So I take sympathy with myself. I don't know what the word is. Mercy on myself. And I do allow myself to spend some things. And sometimes, you know what I mean? Because like there's a balance, right? Like we can be strict, and we're going to save absolutely every penny, and we're going to be in perfect financial health. And then guess what? You might keel over tomorrow, and you actually never went to the movies with your grandkids because you didn't want to spend the money on the movies with your grandkids. Or, you know what I mean? Like these little opportunities that could be missed because there's money. And I'm not saying go on a $20,000 Disney World vacation when there's no money to go on the $20,000 Disney World vacation. It doesn't need to be that extreme, but caution yourself on the fear also of spending money. We want to be smart about it. We want to have a system so that we're not just getting deeper and deeper into the hole, which is not good in the long run. But also none of us know how long we're going to be here, right? And there might be opportunities and experiences that are important for you and the people around you that are worth it right now. Can't tell you, because again, John works with so many clients too. How many people do we see that are going to save till one day we're going to do this thing? And one of them or both of them never make it to the one day to do that thing. So I'm working with John, so hopefully I will die with some money because he's managing things. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm healthy now. My family's healthy now. I'm also going to give us a little bit of wiggle room to do some things, knowing that maybe that's a trade, and get it not at the expense of keeping the lights turned on. We have to get past the point of we can't keep the lights turned on, right? But for some other things, like I'm going to be human about it, right? I can't just be a robot and pass up on every experience that comes my way in the name of I'm going to have 100% financial health. We may never have 100% financial health. We may never, ever get there. So again, like take these principles with a grain of salt. We want to be smart. We want to have a system, but what's important in your life around you right now? And sometimes those important things need a little money. Maybe it does make a difference to take those kids to the movies or to go to lunch with a friend. You know what I mean? Like these little things that could add importance to your life and to your relationships. Don't hold those hostage. And maybe John will touch on that too. Like we just see it all the time, right? You wait, can't spend a dime. And then you're gone. And the opportunities are gone. when money is not the most important thing. We know that money is so not important. Important is that we can keep the lights on and that people have enough to survive and give us a little bit of, we're not having a panic attack about money. Like we've got to get to that point. But beyond that, like the people are important, right? So just know that like, we're not worshiping money here, but we also don't want you to be living in fear and anxiety, because of the financial situation. And then, okay, I'm going to turn it over to John real quick because he knows, again, all the really good stuff about Social Security. As we were talking about what to talk about, a quick little plug here, and then John's going to share some experiences about avoiding scams. Now, it used to be that like the only people that got scammed were like 90-year-old people at home on the phone call, like that got scammed by a phone. That is just not the case. Like nobody's too young or too old to be the victim of a scammer. Like you can be educated or not educated and be the victim of a scammer. I've got this great couple that's in our ward and they had just returned home from being mission president, very educated. They're very well known in the community, great, wonderful people. And the wife got scammed out of like $250,000 from their retirement. And she's like in her early 50s, but like, it was like this whole big thing, but like, she's not like 90 with dementia. No, like scammers are coming for everybody. So just know that they are absolutely coming for everybody. And so don't feel bad if you think you've been scammed, raise the hand, right? Like it is better to raise the hand and get some help than wait and wait and wait. And that's what happens. They prey on people and then they don't want you to tell anybody if you do get scammed and then it gets worse. So it's just like counseling your teenagers, right? Like, no, tell a parent. It's better to tell the parent to help it stop than keep it quiet because we're embarrassed we got scammed. Just know like it's not you that needs to be embarrassed if you got scammed. It's their fault. It's the bad guys that are scamming. It's not your fault if you're the victim that you got scammed, right? So like it's not shame on you, it's shame on them. So just know anybody can get scammed. Check your accounts, like you're just looking at your accounts. Do you have online access? Are you looking at your accounts, at your statements to know what's there? Never email sensitive information. Just don't. So these are just very basic concepts of like, how do scammers get to you? They get to you through the phone, through email, through text. Like these are the ways they normally are going to approach you. Don't give out any information over the phone. And John's got a horrific story to share about this one. Just don't give out any information over the phone. I'll tell people, even they call me, they say they're so important. I said, great, send me a letter, click. Send me something in the mail, click. People that really want your money, a creditor or something that that you owe the money, they will send you a letter. Even the IRS, they're not going to call you on the phone. Like, no, I'll tell them, send me a letter. Great. I need it in writing anyway. I can't do anything over the phone. I need everything in writing, especially if anybody's asking for any information or any money. So just nothing over the phone. Send me a letter. And then be super careful about text notifications. Who here gets these? I get these. Kind of, maybe we're all getting these. So it's so terrifying. Text messages will come to your phone and they look like they're from the bank. And they'll generally say something like, oh, we noticed that you were trying to log into your account, or like someone's trying to log into your account, please verify. And they'll even say, from America First, from Mountain America, like they know where you're banking and they'll send you a text. It's like, oh my gosh, click on this link to verify who you are because someone's trying to get into your account. And then boom, they're going to get into your account. So just no text. Don't click on any link from anything financial in any text. Again, if somebody really needs something, they can send you something in the mail. Like everything else is not on fire, but they're just getting so good. They're making it look so real. Like it looks like this really comes from Mountain America. My sister had one where she had just gotten back from America First. They had just opened an account for her teenage son. And then they got home and within like 10 minutes, there was a message from America First. And so it seemed like it corresponded, right? Like, of course I was just at America First and now they're doing this, but like had to stop, like, wait a minute. It was totally a scam. So scammers have great information. They have access to some information. They knew she'd been at the bank. They knew she'd opened an account. Don't know how it works, but they didn't have access yet. So just be super cautious of anything coming through text message with links to things to click on. Anything coming through email, like, nope, just if in doubt, delete. And those crazy phone calls, they'll try to scare you. Nope, hang up, send me a letter. You and everybody else, great, send me a letter. If it's really that bad, nope, send me a letter. You're not going to seize my home through a phone call. Like, it's not possible. You're not going to seize my accounts because of a phone call. Nope. All of these things would need letters in writing if anything was real. right, about any of these past credit things. But again, John's going to share some crazy stories about those. I'm actually going to turn it back over to John right now so he can share some of those, and then we'll circle back around for some Q&A. Here's John.
I may need you up here just so we can do this thing. All right, I think we were told there's some camera etiquette, and so if I didn't raise my hand like this, the camera was going to follow Kristy going back down. So hello, everyone. So going back to the scams real fast. Last year, I had a widow client of mine. She's 81, 82 years old. She called me in a panic. And what had happened was she received a phone call from, on her caller ID, it said LDS. And in her mind, the church is calling her. And they said, "Hi, who am I speaking with?" And she said, "Well, my name is," and I'm going to make up the name just to keep her name confidential. "My name is Martha." "Martha, this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We have been viewing your tithing donations. And for whatever reason, it appears that your checks have not been clearing. Do you want your temple recommend to expire or not?" And she was mortified. She honestly thought that this was the church who had called her out of courtesy by saying, if you want your, and the scumbag scammers, because they obviously knew the link between tithing and temple recommends, but she just said, "I should have been paying like $6,000 of tithing over the past year, but I only have $4,500 in my bank. We'll let it slide this one time, but we do need to pull that today if you want this to go." And she gave all of her banking information. The church will not call. IRS will not call. Social Security will not call. If you receive any phone calls from any of these institutions and they are requesting information from you, or they're notifying you that you have previously given them faulty information, that is a scam. None of those financial institutions will call you. Their primary method of contact is by way of mail, paper letters in the mail. So please keep that in mind. And they are getting so clever. They know so many things about our culture. They know so many things about us as individuals. And like Kristy was saying, I don't know how they gather all of that information, but they are becoming more and more clever. And so if I want you to walk away with one thing as it pertains to scams, phone calls will never be a primary source for legitimate financial institutions to contact you. It will always be by way of the mail. So the second half is we're going to talk about Social Security for a few minutes. A couple of things on Social Security. Number one is the rules are pretty complex and there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. If we just type into Google, "Tell me everything I need to know about Social Security," not only is there misinformation, but there's also a lot of accurate information that could be misinterpreted relative to your personal circumstances. So everyone's circumstances are unique, which means the rules of Social Security should be applied to you as a unique way, as opposed to a blanket statement that's going to be true for anyone and everyone all at the same time. I'm going to go over a couple of concepts with Social Security, and then hopefully you can take some of the principles of Social Security and now apply it to your personal circumstances. The next thing to understand about Social Security is they are a reactive institution. They are not going to proactively reach out to you by saying, "You may be eligible for this type of benefit that's out there." The onus is on you to understand what that is. And unfortunately, like we talked about in the first bullet point, there's a lot of misinformation. So how are you supposed to know what you are and are not eligible for? I'm hopeful that some of the tips that I share will be able to provide some guidance. Do you have a question? Proactive means that they are not going to reach out to you without your consent to say, just because we had a spouse pass away, be aware that there may be some extra benefits from the government. They're not going to reach out in advance. You have to reach out to them. Yep, great question. And then lastly, it's up to you to figure out your claiming decisions. So in the context of this audience, there may be 4 different filing decisions. And so like every financial advisor, I put together a little spreadsheet that's going to summarize what these different benefits are. So the 4 benefits that we'll briefly talk about and how they may apply: individual benefits, spousal benefits, survivor benefits, and children's benefits. We're going to go through each one of these. And then if you do end up taking a picture based on my commentary, hopefully that will be, the picture will be enough to at least jog your memory as far as what we talked about. We're first going to talk about the individual benefits. to be eligible for your own personal Social Security benefits, there's two criteria that have to be met. Number one, you have to have at least 40 credits. Credits is how Social Security determines eligibility, but credits is another word in Social Security lingo as quarters. As long as you have 40 quarters of work history or 10 years of work history, you're eligible for Social Security once you turn a certain age. Now, those ages, you can start it as young as age 62, and you can delay that benefit all the way until age 70. Well, if I'm eligible at age 62, does that mean I should automatically take it at age 62? Not necessarily. For some people, that may make sense, but for some people, delaying all the way until age 70 may make the most amount of sense. Again, I'm not going to give blanket advice because I don't know anyone's circumstances in here, but just know that the longer you wait, that benefit amount is guaranteed to grow. From 62 to 67 years old, that benefit's guaranteed to grow by about 6.5% a year. But from 67 to age 70, that benefit is guaranteed to grow at 8% compounded every year. And so if there are other financial resources, it may make sense to delay your personal benefits. There's a question. Great question. So for those that could not hear, the question was, if I am receiving a disability benefit from Social Security, does that grow as well? Or does my individual benefit grow as I'm taking disability? How that works is when you file for a disability benefit, it's as if you waited until age 67 to file for your personal benefit. So Social Security will give you that benefit of the doubt, and they will allow you to receive that higher dollar amount. So, and then right when you turn age 67, you stop receiving disability and now you receive your personal benefit. Same dollar amount, but now it's just titled something different. Great question. So that's when it can be taken. The spousal benefit. In my circumstances, I'm married and my wife, she works significantly harder than me, but she does not have earned income. She stays at home and she raises our children. And so I'm the primary breadwinner in my family. And even though she doesn't have earned income, she is still eligible to receive a spousal benefit, up to 50% of what my benefit is. So if I'm eligible for $2,000 a month upon my retirement age, on top of my $2,000 a month, she is also eligible for $1,000 a month, even if she doesn't have earned income. That's the spousal benefit. Now, in cases where husband and wife both work at the same time, and there's a significant disparity in the income levels where one is the primary wage earner, the other one is a wage earner, but not nearly to the degree that the first one is, the laws of Social Security say that the spouse can either take 100% of his or her own personal benefit or 50% of the higher wage earner, whichever is higher. And so there's at least going to be that 50% benefit on the spousal side of things. That, again, also the ages range from 62 to 70 years old. And then on the survivor benefit, and then we'll get into some of the other columns. Can you earn income and strategies and things like that? But on the survivor benefit, the eligibility criteria is you need to have been married to your spouse for at least 9 months prior to the spouse passing away. And the one who did pass away had to have been eligible for individual benefits, meaning there was at least 10 years of work history or 40 credits, 40 quarters. And as long as those two criteria have been met, you will be eligible for a survivor benefit. Now, survivor benefits can start as young as age 60, but really you only delay that not until age 70, but until your full retirement age. That's what FRA stands for, full retirement age. Now, what is a full retirement age? Well, it depends the year you were born. It's anywhere between ages 66 and 67. And if you are my age, it's age 67 at this time. By the time I get there, it might be age 70, I don't know. But age 60 is the earliest you're able to file for that benefit. And then full retirement age, every year that you wait in between, that benefit is going to grow at that 6.5%. Question here, then question here. Okay. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So yeah, great question. It can be accurate. So the criteria, so the question is, well, what if I was married once, was divorced, got remarried, my second spouse passed away? Whose survivor benefit am I eligible to receive? Fantastic question. That happens all the time. If you have been married to the first spouse for at least 10 years before the divorce took place, and your remarriage took place after age 60, then you get to choose either one, the current spouse or the former spouse. But if you were married for less than 10 years and then divorced, or if you got remarried younger than age 60, then the first spousal benefit or survivor benefit from the first spouse, they are null and void at that point. Now everything is only eligible for the second marriage. Does that answer your question? Perfect. There's a question back here.
Yes, I received, my husband, before he died, he was on full disability, Social Security disability. And when he passed, I got the
Survivor benefit, yeah.
I don't know if it's a different category, being that he was disabled.
And it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have done that. It would have now, if you're receiving a smaller dollar amount, maybe it's because you filed at a younger age than your full retirement age.
Yeah, I was 55 when he passed.
Okay.
I was 58, and then so I got basically I got the same amount that he was getting, and then my child, we had a child who was disabled, and so then he got an amount.
Yep.
As being because of he himself is disabled, plus he had a father disabled, so we get Social Security disability, both of us, and then he gets Social Security or his retirement. My question is, if I now, before I turned 60, for those 5 years, I had to keep filling something out every year saying from Social Security asking if I remarried, if, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then now I don't get it anymore because I'm 61. My question is, if I remarry, do I lose? Does my son lose?
Great question. The answer is no. Now that you are age 60 or older, now you could remarry and it would not jeopardize your current Social Security benefits.
So I would still.
You would still hold on to those. Yep.
And then if my second husband passed away, it would come down.
Now you get to choose whichever one is higher. Yep. Great question.
Okay, it's a little confusing. So my husband died, and I've retired. And so I've been receiving his survivor benefit, but my individual benefit, I've been waiting on 70.
Perfect.
Is that correct?
So yeah, so when we talk about strategies up here, you can't really see, but on the strategies, you can absolutely, if you're eligible for more than one benefit, you can't take more than one benefit at the same time, but you can certainly toggle back and forth when it makes sense. So in your circumstances, that's what I would probably recommend without knowing what the Social Security dollar amounts that you're currently receiving, as opposed to if you delay your personal benefit up until age 70, and then you can switch from survivor benefit into your own individual benefit. And that way you're still getting a dollar amount right now, but now you can increase it to a higher dollar amount in the future. That's one way to absolutely handle that. Or the reverse could also be true, where you could file for a survivor benefit right at age 60. And then, so it's similar to what you're doing, or you can file for your personal benefit right at age 62, because maybe it's a little bit lower. And even if you waited until age 70, the survivor benefit was going to be a little bit greater. So file for a reduced personal benefit as young as you possibly can. And then as soon as you hit your respective full retirement age, now you can switch on to the survivor benefit. So there are definitely some strategies that are out there where you can toggle back and forth. Right here, then back there.
Yeah, so my weight passed away. I didn't get, because I was the main, even at age 60, I still wouldn't be able to get any survivor benefit. Is that correct?
No, so you would still be eligible. If she had her own personal benefit, you could still be eligible to file for a survivor benefit first and allow your personal benefits to grow and accrue. So that's where you can toggle back and forth if there is eligibility for both at the same time.
So I'm not throwing any benefits,
Potentially. So that's where we get into, can I earn income? So on the first three benefits that we've talked about, individual, spousal, and survivor, if you are younger than your full retirement age, there's an earning limit. You can only earn $21,240 a year. This is earned income. So if you have a rental property, if you're taking distributions from an IRA, that's passive income. But if you have a job and you're earning income, $21,240 for this calendar year, that's the maximum. For every $2 you earn above that and you take Social Security, they're going to penalize $1 of Social Security. So if you make $50,000, well, they're going to penalize your Social Security benefit substantially. It may not make sense to file. But once you hit your full retirement age, you can earn as much money as you want and take the Social Security, and there's not going to be any penalties. So really good question. It was right here and then back there.
So, I was only thinking only of taking my, survival benefit, and they advised me to wait till 66 and 8 months since I was still working. Could I easily take my own individual right now and until
Great question. For those that didn't hear, if she's still working, has an individual and survivor benefit, eventually she is going to turn on the survivor benefit. Can she / should she take her own individual benefit right now? You're still going to be subject to those earning limitations. And so without knowing your personal circumstances, if you're earning $40,000 a year and yet they're penalizing this, but having an individual benefit penalized or lowered because of how young you are when you file does not penalize survivor benefits. So just because you are lowering one personal benefit, you are still eligible for 100% of the other benefit, assuming you wait until your full retirement age. So did that answer your question? Correct. Yep, to file. That's correct. Yep. So every month that you wait, it will be prorated. Yep. We'll go here and then here.
Okay, so I'm in a little bit different situation. I remarried before I was 60.
Okay.
Can I take my benefit at 62 and then move to my current spouse's, have up his, because it will be more because I didn't work.
Mhm.
Can I take his when I'm at full retirement? Can I go from my to his?
Potentially. So 3 years ago, Social Security made a change to the law, and it was something called a restricted application, which is what you are discussing right here. And on this restricted application, what they said is if you were born in 1954 or younger, or before 1954, you can do exactly what you're suggesting. But if you were born after 1954, then that strategy no longer exists. I know. I know it. Yes. So the question is, if I file for benefits, so again, Social Security by law is not allowed to give advice, which blows me away. How on earth can you learn about this if they're not allowed to give you advice? They are order takers only. And so that's where I think meeting with a financial professional who understands the ins and the outs of Social Securities and now can apply it to your personal circumstances, it makes sense. And many financial professionals that I know, they will have free consultations at first. And so please don't feel like it's going to be one of these things where it's a high pressured sales pitch. That's not going to be the case. If you have questions on Social Security, talk with a financial professional who understands the ins and the outs of Social Security. Great question. Maybe look at their website just to see. Yeah. So right here and then over here. That is passive income. Great question. So you could have as much rental property income or annuity or pension income as you want. It just has to be earned income that is subject to that 21,000. There was a question over here.
So if I marry for a second time before I'm 60, then I will no longer be able to take my first husband's.
That's correct.
I still though qualify for my individual and then.
For the new spouse. Correct.
That's.
Yep.
But and there's no like what if. I don't know how long it varies that person, but there's not like a timeline on that.
9 months.
Like the first one, well, other than the 9 months.
Yep. Correct.
Hopefully, you know.
Yep. Right here.
So children's benefits, I think that dissolved all of my more. So I think it's obviously the top.
Yeah.
Does that sound about
That does sound right. Yeah. So on the child's benefits, if the person who passed away had children, and now you are the primary guardian of those children after the individual passed away, up until they are 18 years old or graduate high school, whichever comes second, Social Security benefits will come. But as soon as they graduate high school or turn 18 years old, that benefit goes away until you're eligible for the survivor benefit at age 60. Let's talk afterward. I apologize. We are running out real fast,
I
yes.
wanted to, John knows the most about Social Security of anybody I know. So I was going to say, that's why I said, John, can I put your phone number and your email up here? Because he literally he knows all the things that you could never find on the website because it's terrible. So take John's phone number and send him questions and emails. He is so wonderful and he is a teacher. He will help you understand these intricate questions. So please do that because we have to wrap up now, but we're so grateful for coming. But yes, please, if you have more questions about Social Security, he is such an expert to help on those. So thank you for coming. We're so glad you came to the class. John, anything else?
No. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.